Okay, most people live on the mouse wheel, right? Monday through Friday, you have a schedule, okay? And that schedule is normally predictable. Okay, so you have, your work schedule, then you come home, then you have a certain things that you need to do, right? And then you get that 1 hour of free time, and then you're back doing the same schedule again. You do that for 5 days, and then you're off for 2 days, and then you're back on the mouse wheel. All right, so good morning, Jay. Good morning, Darlene. Good morning. I missed you, Darlene. Uh, yeah, we were off a couple of days. We were off a couple of days because we had to recuperate, and I've had this stiff neck thingy that's still going on, but I'm fine. It's just the luck of the draw. Some things just happen. So anyway, but today we're going to talk about the subconscious and how it's your subconscious is responsible for manifestation. So people think that this is all magical, okay? And what the thought leaders that present you with certain ideas, okay? Um, and it sounds kind of too good to be true. It really isn't. It's really definable. It's explainable. And today we're going to break a lot of that down. Okay. Somebody told me the other day, I think was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And they said, we like how you break this stuff down, and we haven't heard people like you who break this down before like that. Well, you see what happens if you break it down too far. People look at it and they go, well, okay, there's not much here. That this is really simple, okay? But that's the job of a good teacher, is to break things down, not to use all kinds of fancy language and show you how smart they are. That doesn't work, okay? Because it's better to be of value to someone, okay? And let me explain the value. So let's say you met an Eskimo, and let's say you sell the Eskimo a Renoir painting for $5,000. Okay, you've wronged the guy. Okay, you've wronged him, right? Because he can't use a Renoir. Okay, but if you sold him a rifle, okay, like a really good high-powered rifle, okay, now there's value. See, because he can use it. He can use it for hunting. He can use it for survival. He can use it to be productive. Okay, so value is relevant. Okay, so if you're not, if you're totally happy with your life, if you're totally happy with the circumstances, okay, good. Don't watch this. Go watch something else, because everything's good. Okay, if you want to fix something in your life, then pay attention, because you're going to learn something. Okay, now subconsciously, everything happens subconsciously. Okay, 90 to 95% of your day happens subconsciously. Yes, different things, beliefs. Okay, whatever you believe in your subconscious begins to come through to the outside of your life. Okay, so the universal law of correspondence says that everything in here is reflected out here. Okay, those pictures that you have of buildings, and then they have that water reflection in front of them, right? Okay, so that's a good way to look at this. Okay, because however you are in here, it's going to show out here. People cannot hide who they are. The only people that can't see this are people that are unaware of it. Once you're aware, once you know, okay, with knowledge comes responsibility, okay? But once you know, you know, okay? You cannot unknow, okay? Just like you cannot unsee something, okay? But you're going to start to notice this, okay? So what kind of car do they drive? What kind of friends do they have? That's why they say, show me your 5 closest friends, and I'll tell you who you are, right? Okay, because like attracts like. Okay, like-minded people. Okay, we congregate, we gather. Okay, we share opinions. Okay, so politically minded people, right? They all get whoever they align with, right? That's who they're going to gather with. This is not about right and wrong. This is not about, well, you gather with these guys, you're wrong. You gather with these guys, you're right. It's not about right and wrong. This is about whatever you choose. You can choose. You can choose over here. You can choose over here. Okay? You can choose good. You can choose evil or whatever, bad, whatever. So, so good people do bad things, right? We talked about this the other day. Bad people do good things. I knew a lot of people that you would consider bad people, and they helped a lot of people. It's just that what they did for a living was, yeah, was ugly. No. And by the same token, I know a lot of good people, right? That well, they profess to be good people anyway. Some of them in very prestigious institutions that do some bad stuff. Okay, so it works both ways. But here's the thing, right? What kind of results do you want? What do you want to manifest in your life? You want to manifest good stuff? Okay, so you want to manifest better stuff? Okay, there's a method. Okay, so my method is pretty solid because it involves your subconscious on every level. Okay, so affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. That's all you need to do. Those four. Okay, if you follow those four pillars, and if you apply those four things to any one thing, so you don't have that power. But you have this, so you don't have that power. But you have this. Okay? Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. I'll say this till the day I die. Okay? Many people live in the kingdom, but they hide in the kingdom. Many people are prisoners in the kingdom. Okay? The prison is here. Okay? Same place the temple is, the prison is here. Okay? You need to unlock the prison. How do you unlock the prison? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay? My job as a life coach is to unlock prisons. Now, I'm a spiritual life coach. Okay, there's a difference. I'm not a religious life coach. I'm a spiritual life coach. Here's how I define it. You are not your body. You are not your name. You're that energy that lives in here. We call this a spirit. There's a separation between the body and the spirit. The body is governed by the physical world. The spirit is not governed by the physical world. It's not a part of the physical world. It dwells within the body. Okay? God lives in here. Can the spirit go either way, good or bad? Yeah, sure. It depends. There are evil spirits. I've met a lot of evil spirits, a lot of evil spirits in my lifetime. Okay, so there are people that are just evil. They didn't start out like that. Okay? The subconscious learns to be evil. The subconscious learns to be good. The subconscious learns to be stubborn. The subconscious learns to be short-tempered. The subconscious learns to be angry. But the subconscious learns to forgive. The subconscious learns to love. You ever see these people that have very hard lives? Right? They have very, very tough lives, very, very hard lives, okay? But then when their life gets better, what do we say? We say, oh, they're learning. Oh, they're getting better. Oh, they turn their life around. Oh, they changed their life. How did they do it? Repetition. The subconscious learns in repetition. So the way that my mentor did it with me in my 20s, when my 20s were so turbulent, they were very, very turbulent. My early 20s were the worst. Okay. Very angry. Do you think you can do it again tomorrow? I was like, yeah, okay. Did it tomorrow. Tomorrow turned into a week. A week turned into a month, which turned into 6 months, which turned into a year, turned into 5 years, turned into 10. It never went back. Why? Because he had trained my subconscious by keeping me mindful and just doing what it was that I was supposed to do. Okay, which is the same thing religion teaches you. Okay, it keeps you on the path. When you walk by faith and not by sight, okay, when you're mindful of your actions, you just don't, in Hawaii we say make any kind. You just don't make any kind. Okay, in other words, you deliberately do your walk of faith. Faith is believing. What is faith believing in? God? Yeah, faith is believing in God, but faith is believing in you because God lives in here. Yesterday, I had to tell one of my clients, and I'm actually teaching him for free right now, and I had to tell him because somebody had to. I said, I never saw somebody who believes in God 100%. This guy, he believes in God, knows his Bible, everything. Can tell you verses, he can quote you verses verbatim. That's how good he is. But he has problems believing in himself. How does that happen? How can you believe in God, believe that the kingdom is within, and have no faith in yourself? Okay. Everything starts in the kingdom. There is no out there. Okay. If you believe in yourself, see, people are forced to believe in themselves sometimes. Okay. There will be a time when you may be forced to believe in yourself if you don't already do. This is when you face challenges. Maybe it's a divorce. Maybe it's a, maybe you get in a car accident. Maybe you have to recover from something. Maybe you have to do physical therapy. Maybe something happens, you get ill. Maybe you have to overcome something. Then your faith will be tested. Does God test you? No. You test yourself. You make decisions. Baby steps is important. Here's why. You don't always go in the right direction. Sometimes you have to be patient. Sometimes you have to let God do his work and let things unfold. Now, if you want to say God, you want to say the universe, you want to say, infinite intelligence, you can apply all of that to what I'm talking about. So it doesn't matter if you believe in God or if you don't believe in God. Either way, you're a believer. Okay, you have a subconscious. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. Once you keep thinking a thought, you actually believe it. You can make yourself believe anything. Okay? Once you keep thinking about it enough, okay, because the subconscious learns in repetition, you could believe anything. And who's to say that your belief is wrong? Your belief just has to serve you. Okay? So holding on to things that no longer serve you are counterproductive. Relationships, okay? This includes family. This includes blood members of a family. I can't even tell you how many members of my family I had to allow out. I didn't push anybody out. I just allowed. Because if you're exerting effort towards something or someone and you're not getting any results, or let's say it another way, if you're not getting anything back, let's say you're giving love, give love, give love, give love. You're being generous, you're being generous, you're being generous. But it's never reciprocal. It doesn't come back. Negative reciprocity. Pretty soon you get tired. Okay? You're doing it unconditionally, but it's like talking to a brick wall. Nothing happens. Sometimes there's gratitude, sometimes there's no thank you, whatever. But sometimes those things aren't working. Because as human beings, we need connection. Connection implies that there's some reciprocation. Okay? So sometimes they are. And sometimes we miss them, right? Even friends. Friends that we don't see anymore. Friends that we haven't seen for a long time. There's a reason. Okay? Your vibration has shifted. When your vibration shifts, when your emotions shift, circumstances shift. When you're on a different vibration, people that are on the old vibration, or the old gang, that kind of thing, right? The old friend group, the old circle of friends, that group. Not everybody is interested in moving on. Not everyone is interested in better. Some people love the way things used to be so much that they carry the good old days as far as they can. And in here, it's the good old days. And the prison is here. So you keep attempting to relive the good old days, the good old days, the good old days. What are you really doing? You're living in the past. Here comes a new day. Okay, but you're over here. Okay, this is the present. Okay, it's called present for a reason. Okay, you need to unwrap it and enjoy it. But they're over here in the good old days. You need to enjoy the present. It's a gift. Life is a gift. When you wake up in the morning, that's your present. There you go. So your subconscious, depending on what you ask it, depending on what you tell it, will believe what it is, will believe the information you're putting in it. It doesn't have to be factual. Your subconscious does not know fantasy from reality. It cannot distinguish, it cannot judge. God does not judge. God lives in here. A reason. They gather because they have something in common. They gather because they believe something in common. Or they gather because they enjoy something in common. So the gamers hang with the gamers, right? You know, if I was a gamer, I would hang with gamers because they're gaming. Oh, thank you, Darlene. Are you talking about family members? Because that's a that hangs up a lot of people. You know, when you have a family member that you have to allow out or you have to let go, it hurts. It really, really hurts. Why? Because deep inside you really thought it would be different. But life is too short for things that do not serve you. Am I talking about things that benefit you so you only hold on to people that benefit you? Well, people that reciprocate, you know. The worst thing to do is sacrifice, though. Okay, sacrifice breeds resentment. Okay, so when you give with love. Okay, when you give with love, you don't expect anything in return. Unconditional love. That's the only way to love. All things but past good old days. Oh yeah. Hey, wolf to wolf dog. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I feel you, darling. Yeah. I mean, so humans get accustomed to things. You know when they tell you that we like to live in the past. Humans love to live in the past or we hate change. Humans don't like to change. It's because our subconscious learns the present. And the present changes, right? It goes from today, goes till tomorrow. Now, some of these things that we learn, or some of the friends that we hang out with, right? We gel with them, we connect with them. And sometimes those friendships last for years. And sometimes we enjoy, and we like to enjoy, right? So we hit the repeat button. Wash, rinse, repeat, right? Repeat, repeat, repeat. Because we enjoy. Okay, it's that dopamine hit. Okay, repeat, 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 right? We love that. Myself included, we love that. And we try to recreate that in others when we meet them. Why? Because it was fun with this person. Now let's make it fun with this person. Let's bring it into that person. So change is uncomfortable because, well, everything's different. I've been doing my gratitude. I've been doing my gratitude practice every day. As soon as I get up, thank you. I say the Lord's Prayer. That's just me. You can do whatever you want, whatever, you know. And it's not even about labeling it. Okay, I've been saying this lately because I found this to be true. In my meditation, when I assign my gratitude to something, like thank you, Father God, and when I just say thank you, here's what I found. And you can find this out too in your meditation, but you have to be still for a while. You have to do it for a while. Okay? Do it for a week. And see if you can feel the difference. This is awareness, okay? See if you can feel the difference between assigning gratitude and just saying thank you without assigning it to someone, without assigning it to God or Jesus Christ or Allah or whoever. And all you have to do is pay attention to the feeling in here, okay? Sometimes the past bad days are better than our present. Yeah, sometimes, yeah. It just it just depends on what it is, Darlene. Okay? But your perception on what is good, and then, or how you differentiate good and bad, uh, is also your subconscious beliefs. So if if you're not, in other words, if you're not happy with your present day, you have to ask why. You have to ask why, and you have to understand why. Okay? So it's important to understand that your highest emotional frequency is love, and the lowest is fear. Now you can remove fear. Okay? Fear is false evidence appearing real. Okay? And the reason why that acronym exists is because when you think a thought that makes you fear, okay, you're bringing the fear upon yourself. When you just feel fear in general, it's for a reason. Okay, so, when animals feel fear, it's because there's a predator nearby. But they instinctively feel that. Their intuition, okay? Intuitive thought. If you're feeling fear from intuitive thought, something is wrong. Tune into that. You can tune into that. You don't have to be a psychic to feel that. But if you think the thought and there, uh, you help with mindset, mom diagnosed Alzheimer's, sisters mean to you. Oh, you have fear. Oh, okay. Fear for my mom. Oh, I see. Okay. You literally tell your brain to shut up every time you have a, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, you could do that too. You can say shut up to yourself. But the reason why I don't like the term shut up, to me, shut up, the word, when you say shut up to somebody, um, I think it's a very powerful term, and I think it's very rude when you say that to someone, because what you're suggesting is you're not allowing them to speak or to be heard when you say shut up. I feel very bad every time I say shut up to somebody. And it really takes a lot for me to say shut up to somebody. Now, swearing, I swear more easily than to say the word shut up. Um, I know what it's like to be suppressed. I know what it's like to uh, be forced into a situation where I cannot or was not allowed to express myself, or anger or displeasure or whatever. Okay. um, and in the old school we had this thing about children are to be seen and not heard. Okay. So what's a dictatorship, Jack? Yeah, so just say stop. Sab, if you say stop, that's good enough. That's really good. Your subconscious will pay attention to that. I mean, your conscious mind will pay attention to that. It'll stop. You have a lot of bad thoughts and try to be nice to yourself, but it's draining. Yeah, it can be very draining. Okay, and this is what I was talking about. Was it you say cancel, clear, delete? Yeah, that works. That works. Yep, there you go. Cancel, clear, delete. That works. So these are make others shut up is kind of dictatorship. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's what you meant. All right. Yeah. So yeah, you see, I don't agree with the term shut up. I think it's worse. I think that's worse than swearing at someone sometimes. Because of what it implies. Okay, if a person is shut up, especially in my line of work, that's counterproductive to what I talk about. So I think people should be heard. I think everyone has a voice. I think everyone should find their voice, and I think everyone should speak their piece. Okay, and their grievances. I think everyone should be heard. Everyone is entitled to express whatever it is, good or bad thoughts. You're going to choose bad feelings. Okay, so what's going to happen is, when you get a thought, right, the emotion follows the thought. When you allow a bad thought, you're going to allow the emotion. Now you need to deal with the emotion. Now that emotion will either empower you or disempower you, depending on what it is. Okay, let me see. Let me see. What is this? Yeah. So how you don't allow it is to just say stop, and then the emotion will not follow, and then you will not be pulled down or. Uh, oh, thanks, Phoenix. Yeah, thank you. Nice seeing you again. Your dad died a month ago, so you're struggling to emotionally. Let's see. I'm trying to regulate. Okay. So if you pray, say your prayers. Okay. If you don't pray, if you're not religious, hi Cooper. Good morning. If you're not religious like that, then meditate. You have to have stillness. Stillness gets rid of negativity. Sadness for no reason. Ah, sorry to hear that, Dakota. Okay, so if you're being sad for no reason, there is a reason. You just need to identify it. Okay. So this morning we're having a live chat. Normally, I go on and give details and stuff. This morning, people are asking questions, so we're going to take the questions and address them. And I'll read the questions so that there's some kind of context here. Okay. How can I calm myself and mind and body to deal with your mother's diagnosis? Okay. So affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Okay. So you calm yourself. Write an affirmation. I am so you have to express gratitude. Okay. So I am so happy and grateful now that. Okay. Let's see. Uh, Now that mom is still here, be grateful for the fact that mom is still here. Okay. And you can pray for your mother. You can also pray for your mother. You can also meditate for your mother. Okay, so a lot of people aren't aware of how powerful meditation is and how powerful stillness is. Because when you're still, you begin to know. Okay? Having faith, right, is, you know, counting on the fact that something that's unseen is there. Meditation is a little bit different. Meditation, you feel, what you're having faith in. You actually feel it. Okay, and I'm just talking about stillness. I'm not talking about emotions. The positive emotions are rooted in love. The negative emotions are rooted in fear. So just know that if you're experiencing negative emotions, the baseline of it, the very bottom of it, there's some fear involved. Okay? So all you really need to do is, first of all, identify the fear. That helps. Okay? Because when you identify the fear, you can write against it. You can write an affirmation to the opposite. That will help you because that will make you become more confident. When you meditate, sit in stillness, close your eyes. Your eyes are your distractors. Okay? So close your eyes and just be still and focus on the topic. Okay? Stillness will help regulate your emotions. Now, the positive emotions from love being the highest, it goes down: love, peace, gratitude, joy, passion, excitement, enthusiasm, hope, and satisfaction. Right below hope is the beginning of the second set of emotions, which are negative. Okay, it starts with worry, then irritation, disappointment, criticism, anger, hate, boredom, envy, despair, grief, guilt, shame, and fear at the very bottom. But all of them are relative to fear. On the positive side, they're all relative to love or degrees of love. So we were all born into love. Well, not all of us, but the majority of us were born into love. Okay, some of us were born under less ideal circumstances, but that happens, right? So I'm not here trying to fairy tale everybody. Okay. Um, do I have a practice meditation? Sure. Why don't you message me, and I'll give it to you. Okay. And I'll also refer you to other people online where you can get it for free. Okay. So send me a message, and I'll send it to you, Phoenix. You're trying. You wake up with tears. Sit with it. Nothing. Nothing. What is the fear? Okay, yeah. So you have to ask your subconscious. Okay, so just close your eyes and ask. Your subconscious is obligated to answer you. Okay, if you're trying to figure out what the fear is or what you're fearing, just ask your subconscious. You're asking yourself. Okay, or you're asking God, because God lives in here. Okay, either way you look at it, however you look at it, ask, what is my problem? Why am I afraid? What am I fearing? And you will slowly get answers. You will slowly get answers. Yeah, what is the fear? You will slowly get answers. And then, oh, I'm glad you found me too. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Rock Painting Mama, thank you. Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The conscious mind thinks the thoughts, okay, about 80,000 a day. The subconscious, okay, stores the most repetitive thoughts as beliefs. The superconscious, okay, works off of the right hemisphere of the brain. Okay, so this is where you get intuitive thought. This is where you get imagination from. This is where you get creativity from. Okay, the left brain rationalizes you out of all of that. Logic tells you, well, that's silly. So you cancel it out. So I'm here to say, trust your crazy ideas. That's all I do. That's all I've done for years. And people constantly, business people, legitimate business people that make millions of dollars tell me, well, no, you can't do this. This doesn't work that way. You can't do it this way. And I'm like, interesting. But I had this idea this way. So I'm going to listen to God, right? Rather than someone who got this from a university textbook. And guess what? It happened. So what was the real answer to this whole process? Well, the answer is, yeah, you can do it your way. Yes, you can do it in the crazy idea thingy and follow that intuition. And yeah, you can. Of course you can. And it may not look like another process. It may not look like something they teach in business school or something they teach in marketing or something. I built a $4 million ad machine that ran for 16 years that helped a lot of local companies. But any MBA person, any person with an MBA would look at it and go, what the heck was that? How did that generate all of that, right? How did that do that? And then I heard this guy, Jay Abraham, on a podcast describe the same process. And I never heard it from him or anybody else. Nobody taught it to me. Okay, I got this intuitive thought about it. Okay, let's do it this way. And I looked at, from outside the box. I pulled myself out. I looked back in. I looked back in the box, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, this works like this, like this, like this, and I put it together, and I started doing it. And one of these guys that I worked with said, you can't do this. This won't work like this. And then it started working. Of course, I didn't tell him that. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but you know, do your own thing, then you're doing good. Once you depend on these systems or depend on these programs and use them as, your lifeblood, then something's wrong, right? Now you've committed yourself to poverty. Okay? So Ralph Waldo Emerson said poverty is the result of feeling poor. I guess it's because I never felt poor. Um, but to answer your question with more specificity or being more specific about it. So I got onto Section 8 housing. I applied for Section 8 housing. And I had Section 8 housing for a few years, and then I got out of it. I started renting rooms in houses. So that's that's an excellent way to get ahead like that. It's an excellent way to do it. So just rent a room in a house, share the bathroom, kitchen, whatever, that kind of thing. It's always an option. In Hawaii, we do a lot of that because of the expense of everything. It's so expensive to live in Hawaii. But that's how I did it. I went to Section 8 housing. I had food stamps. I had, now they call it EBT. But that was all assistance because I wasn't making enough money back in the day. They also had what I thought was, I thought it was pretty cool until they got rid of it. They had dental benefits way back in the day. So you could actually, have fillings done and everything. Now I think they only cover pulling teeth so we have a lot of toothless people walking around. And I think, America being the country it is, I think we should take better care of our people. But that's, I'm not being political. I'm just giving my personal opinion. Um, would that be the inner child? Well, you could call it the inner child. That the inner child is a buzzword. So you got that spirit, and we are talking, working on this for years. Yeah. So Dakota, yeah. Like attracts like. So you're here for a reason, and you're listening to me for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, I believe. Um, so inner child is just the part of you, um, the part of us that we hold dear from when we were younger. Okay, and it's important to hold on to the inner child, because if you let it go, guess what you're letting go of? You're letting go of imagination. You're letting go of play in here, in the kingdom. Okay? Imagination is important. Einstein said that education will take you from A to Z, but that imagination will take you everywhere. Okay? Now you need imagination to manifest knowledge, shapes your thinking. Okay? So we have children that go to college, and they come out totally radicalized. Okay? Um, yeah, sometimes it fits the times, and sometimes it's a little too extreme. So I think balance is good. If you're in college, if you're going to college, um, yeah, you need to take it with a grain of salt. You need to balance. So for the inner child, you need to feed that inner child, because you need to feed your imagination. You need to feed the younger part of you, so that you stay younger when you're older. Like I hang out with girls like in their 30s, and they're like, wow, you don't act like someone your age. And I'm like, I never acted like someone my age. Like, it was just a rule for me. It was a rule, right? And part of that was throwing out a bunch of rules. So what happens is we get into intermediate school. By the time we're in intermediate school, we're being told that we need to leave all this fantasy stuff behind. We need to leave all this imagination behind. If I did that, I wouldn't have what I have today. I wouldn't own my businesses. I wouldn't have my companies. I wouldn't have accomplished my learning that I had to do. Self education is actually way better than formal education for certain things, I guess. For teaching, definitely, definitely. Especially if you have teaching in you. So, my mother, who's an educator, my father was also an educator, but my mother, who's an educator, told me that teaching is inbred. And when you have something like that, okay, when you have, let's say somebody in your family is a dentist, and then his son's a dentist, and it kind of goes down like a dynasty kind of thing. You need to pay attention to those things. So if it runs in your family, you know, incorporate, feed that interest. When you see an interest in a child, and the interest, let's say the interest in a child is along, whatever lines or creativity or whatever, feed that interest. Point them in that direction, and be an accomplice. Okay, help them achieve what it is they're interested in. Being Catholic all your life and learning and feeling God inside us has been so hard. Oh, okay. I was Catholic when I was very young, and then I quit. Okay, well, that's a long story, but that's not necessary to tell right now. It may not be my place, forgive me my opinion only, but homeless isn't only a lack of roof. Yeah, so, um, well, yeah, I mean, Darlene, I get you. I understand. I understand that. Um, so, yeah. feel God in you. You can feel God working. You feel God in you. You can feel God working. You can feel the expansiveness. Um, Feeling God is, let's see, it it's all right hemisphere. Okay, first of all, it's the right hemisphere of your brain. But when you allow that creativity to grow, when you allow that expansiveness to happen, it will. The thing that contracts everything is society. The things that we're programmed into, okay, the things that we are programmed to accept as a society, okay, always contracts imagination, contracts creativity. And then what happens is your left brain rules. Your left brain, okay, whatever you get, your logic basically, your logic starts to rationalize out your dreams. So people start with their dreams, right? Okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this in life, I'm gonna do that in life. When I put my name in a browser, it shows me all the things that I was dreaming of when I was 12 years old. But the reason it does that is because I stuck to my guns. I said, no. I was stubborn. I said, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And all of the things I was interested in, I've done. So most of them were creative things, and then yeah, some of them were marketing things, and some of them were the teaching things now. So now I teach young people how to do it. The thing about young people, the hardest people to communicate with are educated young people because they've been steered in a totally different direction. And technology is changing, times are changing, um, methodologies are changing, but they're not changing that drastically, not that much. I think we need to get back to what works, and I think basic fundamentals work. And when you start with your subconscious, you're starting at the right place. So, yeah, Darlene, there you go. Home can be a person. Of course, home can be a person. Um, oh, great, I Cooper. Okay, so you'll feel it. You'll feel it more. Keep at it. You're doing good. Yeah, if you're meditating, so just silence, silence. If you want to feel more of that expansiveness, do more silence. Okay, you'd be amazed what you can feel in silence. You're very welcome, darling. Very welcome. Thanks, you guys. All right, I'm getting the signal. See you tomorrow from Jay. Thank you, Jay. Jay is our moderator over here on this side. So on that platform, we're on 7 different platforms every morning, and we do it at 7 a.m. Hawaii time. There's no pitch. I'm not here to sell you a program. Um, no sales pitch. No products. We're not gonna, Oh, you can get my book if you want. Actually, I'll send it to you for free. If you want the book, it's called The Universal Law of Attraction in Singing. And this talks about how your voice can change your life.